Brad, could you just speak to the value of this long road trip coming at this time of year and the intangibles maybe that come with that in terms of getting these guys together, the camaraderie that naturally comes with a road trip like this?
Well, it's going to be a tough one. Yeah, you've got 5 games in 8 days, so it's not we had some downtime at the front of it, but not once we get rolling here, it's going to be all business. So I expect, you have to be plugged in. You got to, it's going to require energy every game. And we're going to have to be on our toes here.
But just in terms of what it does for this team and bringing them together, young guys, getting to know one another off the ice, that type of thing, that's kind of an intangible that you kind of also gain here, right?
Yeah, I think all these road trips, it's, for a young group, it's an opportunity for them to get together. A lot of them have girlfriends or wives or families back home, so it's a little tougher in those days. But, yeah, the road's always been good for that.
Yeah. Looks like maybe a change in goaltender tonight. I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, Daniil's going to go in net. Yep.
Yep. What does that mean to get another opportunity to see him? We haven't seen him in a bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, we know he's very capable. We've seen he's played a lot of good games, and he was a little bit banged up here. So I think he got at least 3 games down there once he got healthy. So I'm anxious to see him. He's a guy that when he's been in the net, he's looked very well, very good.
A guy like Foudy was a guy that said it didn't really bother him that it took him a while to score a goal. But as a coach, were you having conversation with him to kind of keep his head up, tell him to stick with it? Because he's playing some good hockey there, and it seemed like he was snake bit for a while before he was able to kind of get that goal.
Yeah, it's not about the scoring. It's all the other intangibles that go with it, right? I mean, if you start thinking about the goal scoring, you forget about all the important stuff. And, there's so many guys on every team that don't score a lot, but you can impact the game, and that's really been a lot of the conversations, like with his legs and his speed. Getting more physical, getting dirty, blocking shots. He's got value on the penalty kill because of his speed and his smart. So there's lots of areas that you can impact the game. I think he's starting to play some of his best hockey. Their line was a real good one last couple games, really. So just keep on that track.
Yeah. As a young guy, have you seen him make strides in that kind of playing the full game as he's come along and played throughout the season?
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. I think, sometimes it doesn't come natural, some of those things, and you got to push yourself into those areas. The NHL is hard to stay and build a career. It's easy to play a few games in the sense that, you have energy, but then you got to settle in and you got to create an identity for yourself, and that's the main thing for a lot of these young guys. What are you going to be, and how are you going to impact the game, and what's that going to look like on a daily basis? And sometimes, or most times, you got to add to it. It can't just be status quo, especially if you're not scoring.
He could be a really good penalty killer, right? You mentioned kind of those attributes, but I know he was really good at that down at the OHL level. But at the NHL, do you see the things to his game that can make him really excel in that area?
Yeah, should be. Yeah, should be. And I feel like it's getting better. Your read's got to be a little bit more sharp. You got to invest in the blocking shots. Good puck decisions, clears, all those things. So it's harder at this level, as you know. Every night you're almost terrorized when you look at the 5 guys that most teams can put on the ice, and even their second unit. So you got to be sharp and focus every night for that.
And you mentioned that line. Bemstrom looks like he's going to maybe get a chance to move up a little bit tonight. Do you just kind of want to see what he can bring to that when maybe playing with some confidence right now?
Yeah, we'll see. I haven't settled in on that. I looked at it in practice and this morning, and I may tweak that. We're not sure.
Just back to Foudy for a second. Does the fact that he scored and he has that box checked now, has that allowed him to play more of maybe a natural game to him?
That you would have to ask him.
Yeah.
I don't know. He looks better to me. His last, I think with the scoring, you gain a little bit of confidence, and you start hanging on pucks, and your puck decisions get better. And he had some real good looks last game. Again, right in the slot. One he misses in that, another one he hits the knob. Could easily score it again that game. So it's coming. I think that's the side of it. You just keep adding to your toolbox there, and we'll see how this goes.
The advantage of this road trip at this time of year, Andrew, just the intangibles that come with it in terms of camaraderie and hanging with one another for 10 days. What do you benefit out of that? How do you get benefit out of that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a long trip, a lot of time with the guys. That's a fun part. We haven't had a long road trip like this in a while, so it brings the team closer, and obviously don't get to play these teams all too often since they're out west, so it's exciting for us.
What can that kind of thing in a year like this do for a team, just in terms of pulling you guys together?
Yeah, build chemistry. Continuing to keep building. From what we started here, obviously, the position we're in, we just want to keep improving game after game, and find ways to have success against different teams.
You've got 2 teams that are in a similar situation. What do you think that will add to this game tonight?
Just win. I don't want too much more than find a way to win, and get out of here with 2 points.
A stretch now where you've pretty much got the same 18 skaters, so there's probably some confidence for you that you're going to be in there pretty much every night. Does that allow, we talk to guys and they talk about when you're in and out of the lineup, as you have been at times throughout the year, it's tough to get maybe a groove going, but do you feel like now you're in a stretch where you're confident you're going to play every night and you just keep going and building out what you've done so far?
Yeah, like I said before, when you're in and out of the lineup, it's a bit tough to build on your game and get the confidence going. So whenever you have the set lineup going into every night, knowing that confidence you're going to be in the lineup, it makes you play better and you can build on your own games.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing we've probably asked you about here repeatedly, probably over the last 10 days or so, is confidence. But do you really do feel like that, you score a goal, you're in the lineup every night? Is that one of the biggest things that just builds and builds as these kind of things happen?
Yeah, for sure. Whenever you can stay in the lineup consistently and just build on your game, especially when I haven't played much hockey in the last few years, just try to stay in the lineup as much as I can and build on my game. It gives me more confidence to play better.
Yeah, that's got to be the biggest thing. Is you mentioned those games you missed the last couple of years. I mean, we had a shortened season with COVID, then you were injured last year. I mean, how much does that hurt, do you think, to not have that development, which was probably going to be pretty important to you starting your NHL career?
Yeah, you want to try to play as much hockey as possible. So obviously I haven't played that much, and going in this year trying to play as many games as possible, just build on my game. It's big for me.
Yeah, and especially even last year coming off that injury. I remember talking to you in the preseason where you were just raring to go. How much has it meant to you to kind of get these games in? And do you feel like you're making the steps now that you feel like you probably could have made maybe a year or so ago or even before that?
Yeah, especially last year, like I said, I only played first quarter of the season basically, and then missing a lot of the year. It kind of sucks. So trying to go into this year and play as much hockey as I can, that feels good.
Yeah, it's crazy to kind of think about 3 years ago. When you made your debut with those couple games and you played in the bubble playoffs, it felt like a lot was working for you. And ever since then, it's just been adversity after adversity. Do you feel like you're getting back to where, feeling wise, your game where it was maybe back even just 3 years ago, which is kind of funny to think about, but it's kind of where the hand you've been dealt?
Yeah, haven't played much hockey since then, obviously with COVID and injuries. So trying to stay in the lineup as much as possible and just play more hockey.
Yeah. What do you like about kind of the chemistry? We might see something different as far as lines go, but I feel like the three of you have been doing some pretty good things here recently.
Yeah, playing together with Peeke and Liam Foudy, it went well. The lines might be a bit different going forward, but building some chemistry with each guy, and that helps us play better.